Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the MASSmotos channel. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you as always for the support. I appreciate it so much. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to stay up to date on my latest content and my new series. If you're a new rider, I want you to give this video a like. I want to see how many new riders are watching this content. And if you can leave a comment about why you want to know this type of information, I'd really appreciate it. So, on today's agenda, we're starting a new series. It's going to be a multi-part series on how to ride a motorcycle. All the basics, everything we need to go through. So for today, we've got two main topics. We're going to keep this start short and sweet. Number one, choosing your motorcycle. Number two is going to be the gear you need to get on your bike before you even start it. So, number one on the list here, choosing a motorcycle. There are so many questions out there about, do I start on a 250? Do I start on a 300 now, a 400, 600, 1000 cc bike? Everybody's got their own opinion. My personal opinion, I started on a Kawasaki KZ440, 1981, very slow bike, couldn't harm myself, but at the same time, it's an old bike, and in some ways, those can be more dangerous than modern bikes. So here we have a 2018 Yamaha Mt07. This is my personal bike. I purchased this new in 2018. I've been riding it since then. My opinion, right off the bat, plain and simple. Can you start on a 600 or 700? Yes, I think you can, no doubt. As long as you take the right steps, you're smart about it, you're a smart rider, and you take things slow, you can easily get on a bike this size to start with, learn, and then it will grow with you. Whereas I outgrew my bike and got this one very quickly because I needed something more enjoyable and also, in my opinion, more safe. So a bike like this generally is fairly cheap for a brand new bike. I had this purchased and delivered straight to my house for, I'll tell you guys, about $7,200. It is brand new. Nobody's ridden it. Nobody has thrashed it. And it also even comes with ABS at that price point. So that's a pretty incredible safety feature to have on a brand new motorcycle that is that inexpensive, especially for a new rider. So generally, for choosing your bike, do what you are comfortable with. I'm not saying you can't start on a 250 or you shouldn't or it's boring, but I will tell you, if you get hooked on riding, you are going to want to get out of that bike quickly, as soon as possible. So if you feel like spending just a little money on a used 250 to get up and go and see if you like it, there's nothing wrong with that. But for those of you who are tempted or maybe have ridden dirt bikes in their past, or anything like that, think, well, maybe I can start on a 600. My opinion, if you follow this series and you pay attention and you go slow, you can 100% start on a 600 or even a 700. So those are the generals for choosing a bike. There's not a lot to it. You just have to be smart, figure out your price point, do what you are comfortable with. Don't listen to the internet. If you feel you're ready, that's ultimately up to you, but just remember, you have to own that decision too. You know, make sure you're ready. Don't go out there just buying a, S1000RR for 20 grand when you've never ridden a motorcycle in your life, and you're gonna dump that throttle into it, and before you know it, you're on your back and your bike is 1,000 yards down the road in a million pieces. So be smart about it. Make the decision that is right for you and you feel good about. So with that being said, we won't go too deep into discussing specific motorcycles. If you want specific details on my bike, feel free to leave a comment. If you have questions about it, I'm happy to answer them. You can watch my moto vlogs, where I talk a little more in depth about my bike and what I've done to it. So let's get into part 2 for today, which I think is the most important. And it's going to be the gear you need and how to ride safely. We're going to go over some must-haves and some nice-to-haves. So let's start with the must-have items. Okay, as you will see, now I have some gear laying out on my bike, which are part of the gear I feel you absolutely need when you are riding. For anybody wondering, I ride in Massachusetts, where we have all kinds of seasons. Obviously, I don't ride in the snow, but it gets cold. It also can be very warm in the summer. You know, we just went through a stretch of 100 degrees. In 100-degree weather, if I decide I want to go riding, I am wearing this gear no matter what. So let's start top to bottom. Obviously, right now my GoPro is mounted on my helmet. I have an Icon Airflight helmet. Helmet is obviously a no-brainer. You absolutely should wear one, whether your state decides they require it or not, which some states around me don't have them, and I always see people riding without helmets down in those states. It's scary, and so dangerous. Two things with a helmet. ratings for your helmet are important, as well as the fit. So for ratings, you want to make sure that it's DOT approved, and it should really be ECE approved, ECE. Those are two ratings that will pretty much cover you for safety. DOT is not very strict. ECE ratings are much more strict and much better for your noggin. Will keep you a lot safer. So you want to look at those. The second part about a helmet is your fit. Go on, any website, find a helmet that you think you like. For example, mine, an Icon Airflight, found it on RevZilla, love the look of it, right? But I wanted to make sure I got one that's good for me, and I actually have a particularly small head for some reason. It's just the shape and the size of it. Hats and helmets fit me much different than somebody my size that's also 6'1". So I went to Icon's website, I looked up their sizing guide, I measured my head, and got the helmet size that fit me best. And that way I can stay, as safe as possible. There's so many helmet options out there. There are great helmets. Look at reviews. RevZilla is a great site for that. But number one, most important, is get yourself a good helmet. Number two, riding gear, jacket. So this is my summer riding jacket. Now this jacket is a textile, as you can see. It's got some mesh on here, right? And the reason I have this is specifically for the summer, is when it does get hot, I have a leather jacket that I ride with in fall. Whenever I can wear leather, I do, if it's not too hot, because it's so good at protecting your body if you were to crash. Now, the key about this jacket is it breathes really well, but it has padding. So in my elbows, there's a big pad that comes in here, as well as up on my shoulders there's a pad. And as a matter of fact, I am ordering a back pad for this very soon, because I want to get some protection on my back. But this, at least, if you were to go down, it will cover you for abrasion. It's abrasion resistant, so it's going to keep you from ripping up your skin if you were to low side your bike. This is really important to get your upper body covered. So get yourself a good jacket. Spend some money, get a good jacket, put that in your bike budget. Don't blow your whole budget. If you have a riding budget and you're trying to get into riding, don't spend it all on the bike. Don't forget, there is gear that you need. There's stuff that you need to do outside of just purchasing a motorcycle. So get yourself a helmet, get yourself your jacket. Next thing, get a good pair of leather gloves. I wear these every single time I ride. They're hard knuckle, they're leather, so they're great for abrasion resistance. They're not super expensive gloves, you don't have to break the bank, but they're great. They've worn in amazing. They fit my hands nice and snug. Again, for both your gloves and your jacket, get yourself a sizing guide from the site. My opinion, those are the things you absolutely have to wear. As you'll see right now, I'm wearing Vans and jeans. A lot of people will say, you should be wearing riding pants and riding shoes. I don't disagree. I think it would be good. I am most comfortable in this stuff, and I take the personal risk for my legs and my feet when I ride. If I were to go down, there is a good chance that my feet and my legs could get injured, more so than my upper body, which is more protected with riding gear. So that's a personal decision always, but these are my recommendations. Those are your need to haves, is get a good helmet, get a good riding jacket, get some good riding gloves. And you can even find riding sneakers now that I've looked at too, and I honestly just haven't pulled the trigger on. And riding jeans, these are just standard jeans. They will provide some assistance, not very much, but you can get good riding jeans to ride in if that's what you're comfortable with. And to wrap this part up, we're going to have some nice to haves for riding gear. Those being a phone mount would be great to have for GPS, or an individual GPS. Those are the only other two riding gear items on the bike, at least, that I think are nice to have. Aside from that, on my helmet, if you ride with friends, right, or a group, in my opinion, a must-have at that point is an intercom system for your helmet. I have an intercom system, a Senna, and when I ride with friends, it is so much safer to be able to properly communicate to each other when we're riding. It keeps all of us safe. We know what we're doing. If any plans change, everybody can make, the adjustment, the change. Nobody's flying off of roads and people are trying to make split decisions. It's all about minimizing your risk when you're on the bike. Everything you can do to comfortably minimize your risk whenever you're riding by yourself or with friends is what you really want to do. So that's really going to wrap it up for our first part here. I'm going to keep it nice, short, and sweet. We're going to get through these parts and get you guys up on a bike. So to summarize our agenda, spend some time researching bikes, your budget, get what you are comfortable with. Any review online is not gospel, right? It's what you're comfortable with. Get that bike, order it within your budget, and leave some money for the next part: gear. Get yourself a good helmet, get yourself a good jacket, get yourself some gloves, and the rest of the riding gear, must-haves or need-to-haves that you feel you want. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Please stay tuned for the next parts coming. It's going to be a multiple-part series. We're going to go through every single piece of a bike, the actual makeup of a bike, how to get started, how to get moving, maneuvering, getting ready for your road test. We're going to go through all of it. So stay tuned. Please, like I said, subscribe if you haven't already. Like this video, leave me a comment, and we will absolutely catch you guys in the next one. Have a great day, ride safe, and we'll see you soon.